Ethiopia and the European Union share a long-standing and strong partnership that's rooted in a relationship of over 50 years. Today we will have discussion about these diplomatic relations, historical relations and future collaborations with the ambassador of the European Union to Ethiopia. Till the end of our program, stay with us. Let's get inside. Many thanks for joining, dear viewers. You are watching OBN Horn of Africa. This is our weekly program, Diplomacy, and I'm Fantam Belete hosting this program. Today we will be discussing the EU-Ethiopia diplomatic relations, history, future cooperation and collaboration with my special guest, Sophie from Emsberger, Ambassador of the European Union to Ethiopia. Till the end of our program, stay with us. Ambassador, thank you for joining me and welcome to this program.
Many thanks for the invitation.
Before directly diving deep into our discussion, would you tell us a bit about yourself, places you have served so far in Africa, and your experience as well?
Yes, many thanks really for this possibility to discuss. So I'm here in Ethiopia since a bit more than 9 months. It has been a good start in all respects. My background is I'm a Finnish diplomat, and this is the second term that I serve at the European Union, be it in Ethiopia or then in Brussels. I have served for the Finnish diplomatic service in Kenya. I left Kenya 10 years ago, so I was the Finnish ambassador to Kenya, but then also covering Somalia, in fact, Eritrea, in fact, Uganda and the Seychelles, and I was also in charge of the UNEP and Habitat in Nairobi. So this is my experience in Africa. I have also served in Strasbourg, in France, and also in Israel, Tel Aviv. So this is my diplomatic career when it comes to postings abroad.
We will be discussing the diplomatic relations, historical ties between Ethiopia and the European Union. To just begin with, what are the key milestones that made this diplomatic relationship between Ethiopia and the European Union strong and long-standing?
Indeed. So this year we are in fact celebrating 50 years of EU-Ethiopia partnership. It all started in 28th of February 1975 when EU, or that what was before EU, the European Commission, signed together with Ethiopia the so-called Lomé Agreement. That was the framework for the cooperation that has started, and where also then the EU office was put in place the same year. From there, we have seen different important milestones. In the beginning of our cooperation, we focused on development cooperation. Trade came quickly into the picture, and already in 1991, EU adopted this kind of everything but arms regime. That means that Ethiopian trade could come in without paying any tariffs, and companies coming in without any tariffs on its goods to the European market. So I think that was also an important milestone. The fact that the European Investment Bank also came in early to finance different projects in the so that was like important, and then also that the European humanitarian aid operations also came in Ethiopia already in the 90s. So this is important. And then if we come to 2016, EU and Ethiopia, we signed a strategic engagement document that really enhanced and deepened our relations. This cooperation then focuses on different areas of collaboration. And then with Prime Minister Abiy in office 2018, the EU came out with so-called Council conclusions. It's like a political document with our political priorities, where we then welcomed and appreciated the tone that the Prime Minister had set for the political and economic reforms, and also the opening of the civic space and like the steps towards democracy. Then, of course, the conflict in the north came as part of our relation, and we also like tested our diplomatic relations. But there, EU never abandoned Ethiopia, as we focused our support and collaboration towards the Ethiopian population. And from there, important Pretoria Agreement, and this is also where EU has then been really partnering with Ethiopia to ensure that the Pretoria Agreement is implemented, be it on the DDR or also then in the transitional justice. So I would say that these are some of the key milestones, and really highlighting the fact that EU and Ethiopia like a long-term partnership, and the EU is a trusted partner for this country.
How has Ethiopia's unique history shaped its ties with the EU?
Yes, so Ethiopia's history is indeed unique, and with like the melting pot of religions, cultures, trade, and it has been fascinating to see like the early connections with Ethiopia and Europe, that ancient Greek was spoken in the court of Axum. Ethiopian envoys were sent to Europe already in the Middle Ages. This year we are celebrating a Portuguese poet, Luís Camus, and he has also been and was instrumental in putting on paper like Ethiopian like history and culture, and also fascinating in the 17th century. Now like a German academic engaged with an Ethiopian, Abbas Georgios was his name, and this cooperation in the 17th century brought to Ethiopian language dictionary. So it has been really fascinating to see like these early stages that, and really goes back hundreds of years of cooperation at different levels. And so I would say that this has created like the bond between Europe and Ethiopia that is still there, and is nourished by people-to-people contacts, the diaspora in Europe, and also many Europeans living in Ethiopia, and of course also then that what we are doing at the diplomatic level, the business community. So like really this centuries of cooperation has really like framed our relationship, and I think this is for this continent really unique.
This year we celebrated 50 years of partnerships of Ethiopia and the EU. What significant agreements have marked these EU-Ethiopia relations?
Yes, so I think like when I highlighted the different milestones, so I think the agreements I also mentioned like all started from this Lomé Convention, and this is nowadays the so-called Samoa.
Was it 1975?
Yes, so and now it's the Samoa Convention that puts like the framework. But I think like the agreements that I mentioned in like the milestones are there.
So in recent decades, what significant agreements do you remember that Ethiopia and the EU signed?
Yes, so as a political agreement, evidently like the strategic engagement is something that is was really like now the framework for our concrete cooperation. So I think that is like really continues to be like the important basis.
The Lomé agreement that was signed in 1975 has a trade relationship, right?
Yes, it was not only trade relationship, but really like a framework agreement on cooperation in many different fields, be it like governance, democracy, human rights, trade, and now like the Samoa agreement also like on climate change and trade and economic development. So it's a very broad, and then like here at the country level we are then implementing it through our concrete work.
Thank you. What areas does the EU focus on for Ethiopia's development, and how effective are these efforts?
Indeed, so we are focusing on areas where we are sharing interest, and like the common interest that we have, for example, in green energy, and like climate change, then on digitalization. Of course, the framework for everything is like governance, human rights, and also then, for example, in the health sector and in the agriculture. So, and then specifically, and that connects then to all of these, is business and the private sector. So these are like the areas where we are now focusing on. And one area in addition is migration, where an issue that is central to Ethiopia and also for many other states. That so these are the areas. And then on the effectiveness, I think one can approach it from many different angles. And one is the responsiveness. If there is a need, like for example the conflict in the north, where EU then came in with support to like basic services, humanitarian aid. And then another aspect of like effectiveness is of course that we are like aligned with our interests and like our work. So there we see that as mentioned, the interest of EU and Ethiopia in the sectors, for example, on green energy, digitalization, that we like work hand in hand. So that of course is a basis for effectiveness of our work. And then effectiveness also to the fact that EU is here in a full force with now just the second member state has just arrived in Addis. So like really to team up in this so-called Team Europe that we pull together. So this also leads to be more effective. And then of course effectiveness also in the through that accepting that there are also like still issues to be that are not perfect and that we need to work on. Be it like there are some administrative regulations that are not still a bottleneck for the business community and the private sector, that we can tap into the full and really use the full potential. So I would say that these are the strands of also like about the effectiveness of our work.
Wonderful. How would you describe the current trade ties between Ethiopia and the European Union?
So trade is a really key part of our cooperation, and also like the relationship between EU and Ethiopia. That EU is the biggest export market of Ethiopian goods, and Ethiopia on its side is the third for European trade. So this is already like the basis. And here, as I mentioned, the everything but arms, no tariffs for Ethiopian goods. So this was already the basis set in 91. And of course we can do much more. For example, like really concrete like work that we are doing in supporting Ethiopian farmers in meeting standards on sanitary and psychosanitary regulations and criteria that they can then export their goods to European markets with like fulfilling the criteria of like the sanitary requirements. And of course then the fact that Ethiopia is now applying for WTO membership, this is something that we fully support, and we see that this will then provide many new opportunities. And of course then the African Continental Free Trade Agreement gives a huge potential for Ethiopian trade on the continent, and this is something that EU is supporting because we see that this is like for the continent, also for the resilience and the resilience of the continent, and is important that there is more intracontinental trade. Yeah.
How is the EU supporting Ethiopia's fight against climate change and this green initiative or green legacy initiative?
Indeed, and this is climate change is evidently like a challenge that we all face like globally, and here this is one of the also like a key areas of our work where we like supporting, be it like in the agriculture field, more resilience, for example, like the grains that are used and the technology that is used, or like how the soil is treated so that it's more resilient to climate change. So this is something very concrete, and also like water management, something that is on our agenda, and also then like through infrastructure, of course, like to use. There was a Danish-led wind farm just being inaugurated. So this is something like on like the infrastructure, and more to come. There is France is in the lead, or in cooperation with the Ethiopian electric power, to upscale the electric grid, and also like to include like more digital solutions and aspects.
How does the EU approach human rights and governance in Ethiopia, and what progress has been made so far?
Yes, well, I think first it's important to recall like EU's own history, that the European Union was founded from after the Second World War, and all the horrors that this war led to, and the saying was that never again. And therefore, like human rights, human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality are like the core of EU's existence, considering the past that we had and that what happened during the Second World War. So this is really like a human dignity, freedom, democracy, human rights. Really like this is like what the core of the European Union. And then, and of course, it's also then a central part of our work in our external action and in foreign relations. So in Ethiopia, we are approaching this partnership like through in our political dialogues, the cooperation that we have, and also like in the way that we are supporting different like the capacity of the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission to do its work, or and also support to civil society, as the civil society organizations are doing an important work in many different fields in the society. It can be everything from like basic services, and also then that the civil society evidently having this kind of checks and balances role at if there is a need to remind state leadership about like it's serving its the people. So there the civil society has an important role to play in every country, also in our countries. And also like then the freedom of media, where we see that for like it is key for a like free, inclusive, democratic society, that there is a free media, there is the space to provide like express views, and this is important also, for example, in for the reforms, because to come with different views and ideas can also then bring the society and development forward. So this is important in many different ways. And of course then the conflict in the north and the Pretoria Agreement with and everything that like the human rights violations that happened during the war, that the Pretoria Agreement showed that through dialogue and negotiations, one can come to a solution. So therefore we very much appreciated the Pretoria Agreement and have supported its implementation. So I would say like the lesson from this is that like violence and conflict is not like the solution to the issues, but more and really through dialogue and negotiations and engaging. So that is like really like a key takeaway from that conflict. And of course also the conflict in Amhara and parts of the Oromia region, that also there we truly hope that like through dialogue and negotiations that there will then be like a good solution, and all will be
what are the key priorities for EU-Ethiopia relations moving forward?
Yes, so I think we have we are at a good point with in our relation that we are like building back the dialogue and the trust, and that what I would see is that now like that we continue on the path that we are working on, like on the priorities and the interests that we share, be it like discuss the climate change, green energy, digitalization, health, private sector. So I think those are like the what I would see that are also for the future, and that all these very ambitious reforms that are now ongoing in Ethiopia, that they will succeed, because this is the EU sees that we want them to succeed. This is important in many ways, and evidently that no one is left behind, that all the population will then also profit from the development and the prosperity.
How is EU supporting education in Ethiopia?
The importance of education one cannot highlight enough, and that what we are concretely doing is like in conflict affected areas, like we are supporting the rehabilitation and reconstruction of schools and premises, so that children can return to school. That this is like one key part of our work, and this comes also like with a holistic approach, that there is like school meals provided, that there are like this sanitation and facilities are available in schools, and also to try to ensure that like for girls, that they are not dropping out from school. So like also for teenage girls, that the premises are there, that the teenage girls also feel comfortable in coming to school. So this is one. Then another part is like, because the basic education is, and the primary education is of course then really center for then the children to move forward, be it in to college, university or vocational training, and that what we then support is now specifically like on vocational training and digital skills to like really equip the young people with like the skills that are needed in like the digital framework, because this is like an enabler then for so many things. And then of course education, we have the Erasmus Plus, it's a student exchange program where Ethiopian students have really scored very well, even in comparison to like the whole continent. So I think for this new group of Ethiopian students leaving this autumn to Europe, it's like Ethiopia is the third biggest group then going to Europe. So this is and also like research cooperation, and so different ways what the EU is doing, and member states then also having their own schemes for scholarships, and we are then also trying to get more research cooperation, and so we will organize also this year a Study in Europe fair, where we will then together with member states really like showcase what the EU can offer. So I would say that there are many different tracks.
What role can EU play in strengthening Ethiopia's healthcare system?
Indeed, so that is also like one of our key tracks where we then together with member states are working in different fields, and one is for example after the COVID and also the conflict to like reconstruct the facilities, and also to like get back like the equipment that is needed. We are also focusing on training doctors and nurses, so that the training component is in addition to like the infrastructure there. But that what we are increasingly also looking into is how the private sector can come in on this, that and especially then, for example, in an EU framework, we have a so-called global gateway. It's like to pull together different EU actors around one team that could we in Ethiopia also focus on like digital solutions and healthcare. Could we also support like the pharmaceutical production? So these are the private sector to be coming in more. That is our vision, and also something that we are working.
How important is cultural exchange for these EU-Ethiopia relations?
Yes, no, it's absolutely key, because our relationship is so much more than just like political, economic, but it's really like at the personal and human level. So and culture brings people and us together in a very broad sense. So we have different ways of bringing Ethiopian and European artists, and I would also include here like the sports, the amazing Ethiopian runners. We have, for example, the European Film Festival annual event, where it was amazing to see like during this year's film festival that the space was filled with Ethiopians who were interested in European film. And also like the workshops that were organized around this, how like they were really engaging. So film won, we just also celebrated International Day for Jazz, where, for example, the Embassy of Belgium organized an event with Ethiopian and European jazz musicians. So many different ways, and really this is like to connect people in a much broader sense.
What message do you have for Ethiopian and the EU citizens for these EU-Ethiopia relations?
Indeed. Yes, so my message would be that it's an amazing long history that we have together, and that there is so much that we can like still continue to do together, and that the EU continues to be like a credible partner for Ethiopia.
What legacy do you hope to leave regarding EU-Ethiopia relations?
So my legacy would be that, of course, the key point is that I hope that we will continue to deepen our relationship with Ethiopia, and also like have the relationship of trust and mutual respect. Dialogue, because this is like the basis for everything what we do at the official level. Then of course, and as a second, I would say that EU as a trusted partner, we have been here for very long, and Ethiopia can count with us. This not only like the EU delegation that I'm leading, but also then together with the member states that are here. So like really this together with the Team Europe, that we are working on many and different sectors together with Ethiopian actors. And the third, that I said EU wants the reforms to succeed, that we are here to work together, also like share our expertise and experience, be it in the banking sector with the Ethiopian actors, so that this is something that we can then really move forward on together, and see that the reforms are succeeding, also with the principle that no one is left behind. And then as the fourth, the regional context, Ethiopia, an important and big state in this region, that like more regional cooperation and connections, and there we have also like really from the providing the infrastructure to support that to connect more in the region, as this has both like economic advantages, and it's also one could say also like a confidence building if like different actors are engaging more in this region. So these would be my 4 points.
Sophie from Himmelsberger, Ambassador of the European Union to Ethiopia, I really thank you for your time. It is a pleasure having you on our show.
Many thanks for this possibility. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Dear our valued viewers, you have been watching our weekly program Diplomacy on your favorite media channel, OBN Horn of Africa. Thank you for watching this program and stay safe.